Hi everyone, I'm Natalie. I'm a current third year student at the UT MLA program, and I've created this series of tutorials to break down GIS and how it specifically can be used for and by landscape architects. So I won't go into detail in these tutorials that's going to turn you into a GIS specialist, but these should help you build accurate base maps and be able to move from ArcGIS into CAD and Illustrator. So first, just a little overview of what we use GIS for. Site context, regional analysis, mapping systems, getting data that's from the city, but it's really not good at creating a final graphic product. That is where we'll need to go into Illustrator or CAD. So finding your data, you always want to start and find local data first. And there are several different places that I like to start that I'll include links in the video for where you can start finding your data. We'll primarily just be looking at Texas for this video since that is typically where we're working in this program. Um, I have a lot of the city of Austin data downloaded already, but a lot of cities will have an open data portal where you can find a lot of relevant information. I also just quickly wanted to show you a neat feature of how you can search for data in ArcGIS using your ArcGIS Online accounts. So you can pull maps that people have already made from this or find relevant city data as well. So we'll want to go to the View tab and open the catalog pane for this. And this is going to just be like a ArcGIS version of File Explorer, which we can get into a little bit more later. But basically, when you're managing any of your GIS files or shape files, you want to do it through the catalog because there are multiple file types, and this just makes sure that everything gets moved into the same place. But going back to searching for data for ArcGIS Online, we can do that from the catalog panel. You can also search for data that you may have on your computer. So to search for GIS Online data, we'll want to go to the portal and then click this cloud to connect to ArcGIS Online. And from here, you can search for anything that might be hosted online. So I just search City of Austin, and here's already a lot of things that have pulled up. We've got these, which are going to be specific layers. So we'll go ahead and add that to our map. And then these are going to be maps that other people have made, which can also be useful and can get added to your project. And you can go in here and pull data that these people have had. If you also have any questions about where the data has come from and what exactly it is you're looking at, you can go to the link listed in the path and that will take you to the ArcGIS Online. So here's a preview of what that looks like. We can read a bit more about it if we want to. Okay, so I just briefly pulled in the City of Austin owned parcels so we could see what that looks like. But that is an example of how you can search for data online. And then if we have data that's downloaded, there are two ways we can do this. I typically do it by going to, and it's thinking about something. It might have been because I was trying to open that other map. Okay, sorry about that. It was trying to pull on this other map that I was trying to show you, but this is an example of you can pull in other people's maps that they've made and work off of that. You can also copy any layers that are relevant to your own project from here and put them back in your own map. So I'm going to close out of that now. But going back to adding data from your computer, I typically do it by going to the map tab, going to add data, and you can just click that. Um, I really recommend when you set up your project, put it in a folder where you don't plan on moving it from. It's a little bit like InDesign in the way that when GIS gets disconnected from all of its links that it's connecting to for your data, it can be a real pain to try and fix that. So I really recommend once you make your project, it will make a folder for it. Save all of your um, data that you're downloading in this folder so that you can always find it. And typically I'll make a new folder that's just like data or imports. And then when we get into some other stuff a little bit later, I like to make another folder for my exports just so I can keep everything in here. Um, Now, I know that I have some data that I previously downloaded and worked from um, for a previous class, so I'm going to go and navigate to where I have that saved. If I was, doing this project for more than a tutorial, I would definitely copy this folder of data that I have and put it in my new project folder for this. But just so I can show for the purposes of this, I'm just going to pull it in from here. So I've got all of this data. These are shape files, which is what you want to look for when you're looking for data. So I'm going to just pull in a couple. We'll do Austin roads, and I'm looking for, I think the contours would be good to see if we can find that. Maybe Travis County. And I think I might have the contours in here, maybe. Okay. Yeah, and then I'm going to have to go back and add those other ones since they're in a different folder. Let's go back. Floodplains might be good as well. And you can see it's just adding that to my map as I'm pulling them in. And then I want to go back and add the roads and Travis County. Okay, so now we've got some data in here, and as you can see, it's pretty messy right now. I don't really know what I'm looking at. We probably don't need all this, so that's where we're gonna head in the next video. But this was just an overview kind of what GIS is used for, when you would use it, what purposes we would use it for in landscape architecture, how you can find data by looking at the catalog and also looking at ArcGIS Online or going from your personal computer. I guess one last thing before I end this video, we'll just quickly go over how to, save and organize your project since I did mention that that was important. So you'll want to just go in and save my project. Like I was saying, I like to put it somewhere where I don't plan on moving it or where it's easy to find. I'll typically have a studio file for each semester where I will save it in, but just for right now, I'll put it in here, um, and I'll make a new folder, or I'll just put it in here for now. And then it doesn't really matter what you name it. GIS can be a little bit particular with naming, so I would avoid using spaces, and you can use underscores, but I like to keep things as just one word, and it will be picky about that for the shape files especially. So I'll just name this, save it, and then if I go to that folder where I saved it, you will see that it puts like this is the map. Um, and then as I am adding stuff to this, it will add it here as well. But what I also like to do is make a project folder, kind of like I was showing earlier, where I'll keep all the shape files and the imports and the exports. So, okay, in the next video, I'm going to go through clipping and how we can start cleaning up and working with this data to get it into something useful.